What's up, everybody? Chase Haynes here, and today we're going to be talking about Python operators. There's a bunch of Python operators out there. We're going to be talking about the basics so we don't get too overwhelmed. With that being said, let's get into it. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to go to GitHub. I already have this repository set up. It'll be in the link below. I'm going to go here. We're going to go to Python variables. I'm just going to open this up through GitHub Desktop. As usual, this is just how I do it. Visual Studio Code. All right, cool. Here we go. So we're going to make a new file. We're going to call this operators.py. Okay, great. So what are operators, right? So we're going to hit shift pound, right, for comment. Operators. Are used to perform operations on variables and values. Yeah, I can't spell today. That's okay. Right? So this is what an operator does. So we're going to break down some basic operators. Okay, so first let's start with addition, right? So for this operator, we are going to set some variables. We are going to say x is equal to 5, y is equal to 5. And then from here, I just like to combine my variables into one single variable. So I'm just going to say z. And we are going to do x, right? And this is the first one, addition. It's going to be the plus sign on your keyboard. So x plus y. We're going to bring that down. We're going to do a print, and we're going to print our z variable. We're going to run that, and there we go. X plus y, 5 plus 5 is equal 10. I'm going to organize this as well. Comment, shift, pound sign, and I'm just going to say addition. Next one we're going to do is subtraction. So very similar, right? It's going to actually be the same exact thing. So we're going to copy all this. No need to retype it. Save some time. And we are going to then replace the addition operator with the subtraction operator. There we go. 5 minus 5. But let's change this actually. So let's change our x variable to 10. Now we're going to run this and we should get 5. There we go. Going down, we then want to do... Let's do multiplication. And we can do very similar numbers. Right, let's make it a little crazy though. So let's say 10 multiplied by 10. Something very important to note here, it is not an x, right? Usually, on paper, right, we draw the x. No, for the keyboard, we're going to be using what we call an asterisk. So that's going to be the shift. You're going to hit the 8 key. Also, you're going to see like the little star. So we're going to use that operator. We are then going to print it out. And there we go. 10 multiplied by 10 is equal to 100. Next one we're going to do is division. Put these numbers down here as well. Let's bring this to 100. So x is equal to 100, y is 10. We are going to change our operator now. It is one single forward slash. Keep that in mind, just one single forward slash. We're going to then print our variable z. And there we go. 10 can go into 100 10 times. Next one we're going to do is we're going to do modulus. I'm going to be real with you. Throughout my career and like learning about this, it was one of the most confusing ones. I'm going to try to break it down as easy as possible. So, modulus. We can pull these numbers also. So this is used to find the remainder number. We have x equals to 100, y equals to 10. And for the modulus, we're going to put the percentage sign. And so think about it like this. This is how I broke it down personally. How many times can 10 go into x, right? It can go into it 10 times, and there's no remaining numbers, right? 10 into 100 is a solid 10, right? So once we have this, and I'm going to call this version 1, right? Version 1 equals no remainder, right? And what is this going to equal? It's going to give us a 0, right? But now let's do version 2. So we're going to do the same thing, bring this down here. And what do we think it's going to get, right? So let's change our x variable, change the integer to 103, right? So now think about it like this. 10 can go into 103 how many times? 10 times, right? But what do we do with those remaining three numbers? And that is what a modulus does. It gives us the remainder. It's a little confusing, I understand, but this is just the basics of it. Next one we're going to do is floor division. So we can do something very similar to take our division one as well. Right, floor division. So we're basically dividing 100 by 10. Floor division, though, what this allows us to do is allows us to divide the number, but then round down to the nearest whole number. So the floor division symbol is going to be 2 forward slashes. And what we're going to do is we're going to change our numbers around. So we're going to say, let's do 107.9 divided by 10.54. Even I don't know what this is. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug it in. Our z variable is equal to 107.9 floor divided by 10.54. We're going to print z. The result is going to give us a solid 10, right? Because it's rounding down to the nearest whole number. So let me show you what it would be if we didn't have floor division, right? Now, right now, we just have regular division, just as we talked about here, right? So regular division with decimal numbers is going to equate 10.237191, so on and so forth, right? But if we just wanted a whole number, we are going to do 2 slashes, and that gives us 10. What we're going to talk about next is our Python assignment operators. Right, so in here, we have a simple one where we can say x is equal to 5. But then we have one such as x plus equals 5, which is actually saying x, we're going to break this down. We're going to say x is equal to x plus 5. There we go. So let us so there's the first one. There's our second one. And here we have it. So x plus equals 5 is the same as x equals x plus 5. And we can keep bringing that down. Our third one is x minus equals 5, just as x is equal to x minus 5. Right? Even at the top, what we could do is we can even plug in a variable to help with this, but we can do that afterwards. Number 4, so we've done our addition, we've done our subtraction. Now we can do our, let's do multiplication. We have x asterisk multiplied, right, equals 5, which is the same as saying x is equal to x multiplied by 5. We keep going down. X divided equals 5 is the same thing as saying x is equal x divided by 5. And also you're thinking to yourself, like, why would I do this? Simply put, it just saves more time and more space. 6, after this, we then go to our modulus. X modulus equals 5, which is the same as saying x is equal to x modulus 5. And then here, we're just going to comment all that, right? Cool shortcut. Command // there we go. And here you are for your Python assignment operators. We also now have our exponents. So for 7, we're going to say x exponent equals 5, which is x equals x to the power of 5. And so for 8, we have floor division. We have x floor division equals 5, which translates to x is equal to x floor divided by 5. There are more of these that we could talk about, but for now, these are the basic starter ones that we're going to focus on. And lastly, what we're going to do is we're just going to comment these all out, right? So the cool shortcut is we start at the 5, scroll up, we hold shift, click down, everything's highlighted. There we go. Now we can do command /. Yeah, there we go. So now let's talk about our Python comparison operators. Okay, great. We have x equals 5, y equals 5. We're going to combine this and we're going to say z variable equals x. And this is where our first comparison operator comes in. And how we identify this is the use of two equal signs. So we say z equals x equals 2 y. I was very confused when I was learning this, and this is how I broke it down. So we have, the verbiage is very important. So we have equals, right? One singular equal sign equals 2 is for two equal signs. And what this does is it determines if it is true or if it is false, right? So x equals 5, y equals 5. So x equals 2y should be, oh, we forgot our print, equals true, which is perfect. Now let's change this. Let's say x equals 3. We'll plug that in and we're going to get false because 3 does not equal 5. Okay, great. So that's the equals 2. We're just going to add that at the top. Next one we're going to do is not equal. How do we write that? So same as before, we are going to say x equals 3, y equals 5, and then we're going to say z equals x, and this is where not equal comes in. Going to be the exclamation sign equals, and you're going to put y. So what that's saying is simply putting that 3 is not equal to y, which is true, right? So then we're going to put a print, put a z. We're going to comment this one out. And there we go. It's true because 3, right? The integer is not equal to 5. If we change this up, back to 5, it switches to false. Very simply put. Next one we're going to talk about is greater than. And this is going to be with the greater than sign. How do we write that? We're going to put x equals 5. And we're going to say y equals 2. Z equals x greater than y. I'm going to print this out. And it's going to give us the response of true because x is greater than 2, right? Let's switch this. Actually, let's put y is equaling 10, right? False, because 5 will never be greater than 10. Now we're just going to flip it. Now we have less than. At this point, we can just copy and paste it in, right? X is less than y. So we're going to have 10 and we're going to have 5, right? So what is this going to give us? A true or a false? There we go, a false. You know why? Because 10 will never be less than 5. Let's switch these numbers up. Just like that. It's a true because x is less than y. And so from here, now let's talk about our less than or equal to. So what this means, we can pull the same numbers actually. So let's just do this. I'm going to drop this down. But here we're going to change it up. So we're going to say that z equals x less than or equals to y, right? So it's one or the other, right? If one of the criteria is met, either it being less than or equal to, then it will result in a true output. So we're going to come down, we're going to print this out. We're going to print z. So right now we're saying that 5 is less than or equal to 10. Which one of them is true, right? So I'm going to clear this. We're going to put the output and there we go. True, right? Because it's less than. But now what if we have the same number as our y variable, right? It's also true because it meets one of the criteria. But the moment we go over, it's not less than, it's not equal to, now it's greater than, going to be false. So we're going to go next and we're going to basically do the flip-flop of this and we're going to say greater than or equal to. We're going to do similar numbers. We're going to say x is equal to 10. Y equals 10. And we're going to put this in greater than or equal to. We're going to say x greater than sign or equal to y. We're saying that 10 is greater than or equal to y. So we're going to print this out. And we're going to get the result of true. And we can keep bringing this number up, right? Because x, if it's say 50, it's also going to be true. But the moment that we go under 10, right, it's going to be false. So if we put 9, there it is, false. The next one we're going to talk about is the Python logical operators. So we're just going to talk about two. and they're going to be the AND statement. And for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to set some variables. We're going to say x is equal to 9, y is equal to 5. And we're going to make an if statement. So if x is greater than 7 and y is less than 9, semicolon, we're going to say print it works. So here we are. We're going to run that. Comment this out. There we go. It works. But now we're going to say, let's just say this. Else print. There we go. Right? So right now it works. But if we change this, right? So if x is greater than 7. So now let's change our x and let's equal that to 3, right? So now x is not greater than 7, right? So for these two conditions, it has to be x is greater than 7 and y is less than 9, right? So now out of those two, 1 is false. So the whole thing is false. So we're going to enter that. And there we go, right? Because the if statement wasn't properly followed. So now the else comes into play. So the next one we're going to do is we're going to do our or statement. So let's comment all this out for now. Remember that was shift / We're going to do or. We're going to say x is equal to 5. X equals 5 as you were. X equals 10. And let's make a or statement. So we're going to say if, right, with our if statement, if x is greater than 2 or y is less than 100, semicolon, print so true. Else print so false. There we go, right? So we're going to run this, clear this out. There we go. So true, right? Because 5 is greater than 2. Y, which is 10, is less than 100, right? And so it's fulfilled both of those statements. But let's change it, right? So let's say that x is actually not greater than 2. It's 1. Run this again. And it's still true, right? Because one of the two is still being fulfilled compared to the and statement where both have to be fulfilled, right? So we're still true here. Now let's take it up a notch and let's change it completely to give a false output. The y is less than 100. So that's saying 10 is less than 100, which is true. But let's change this. Let's change this to 101, right? We're just above. Enter that in, and there we go. So false. So we've talked a lot about operators today. And there's a lot more that we haven't addressed, but for now, these are just the basics, and we're going to run over these and we're going to get to know them a lot better. I just don't want to overwhelm you with too many operators as we start out. With that being said, if you like what you saw, hit that thumbs up and also hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much and have a great day.